technical difficulties this morning with getting this together, but we are here. We finally made it. And because it's time for Geek Speak, we just had pretty much, heaven and earth trying to stop us from doing it today, but we managed to get there. And this week, we're going to be talking about using video in your marketing, specifically around distribution is going to be the focus of this one.
Yeah, so we're actually going to do part two, and then we're going to follow up with part one next month with Nathaniel Roy, who's going to be delving more into the production of video, what you can expect, and how to think about working with a videographer. So for
Perfect.
today, we're going to jump into more than distribution, I think, because basically what we're going to answer here is you've got the video. Now, what do you do with the video? Because sometimes people think that video is just going to magically change their business. But without the proper distribution and optimization, whether you're doing paid or non-paid, you need to make sure that you're taking care of those aspects, because if you're just making it and just putting it up somewhere on your website or somewhere else, if it's not done properly, then it will just sit there and the algorithm will not present it to people always in the best way.
Exactly. And also, just to do quick introductions, my name is Phelan. I work at Seymour Digital Media, where we focus on search engine marketing.
And my name is Rina Little from Little Works Indie Media, and we have a full agency in Vancouver, mostly primarily organized around social and distribution.
Awesome. Yeah, and so I think, kind of a jumping off point, I think that makes a lot of sense of what you're saying. It's like not just creating video, but like what are you going to do with it? How does it fit into the overall marketing strategy for your business? And using it more tactically about how are you actually going to grow yourself or your client's business, right? Like it's like you said, it's not just you do one video once, but it's like how are you going to use it overall to help grow the business?
Yeah, so people often think that what they say in the video or the content within the video is the most important part. But if that doesn't get in front of viewers, then it doesn't really help your business that much. It's just another piece of content on your website that's not producing leads. So let's jump into that. So first of all, you want to think about where you are, what your funnels are, and you probably want more than one funnel, or you want content that discusses your funnel in such a way that it will match up with people at different points in your funnel. So if you've got people at your top of your funnel, see if we can get my hand gestures in here. If you get people at the top of your funnel, then you're going to want to have more introductory information, maybe some information that will help them in their research process, understand what you're offering that's different than your competitors, or what problem you're solving, or that they might have a problem that they're unaware of. So that might be the top funnel. And then, of course, there's the middle funnel and right down to the make a purchase spot in your funnel. And so you want to first think about where does this piece of video fit in that funnel? And once you have that, then you'll understand who you're targeting with that piece of, who you should be targeting with that piece of information. So it might be done by interests on Facebook, or it might be you might target by keywords on Google Ads, or you might organize it for your clients that have already made a purchase from you, and you're going to send it out in an email format, that type of thing. So that's number one. Where is it in your funnel? Where does it live? So literally, we want to talk about where it lives also. And that is, where are you putting it? What channels are you putting it on? Can I just jump in here, or can I just keep going, Phelan? Okay.
Well, the only thing I was going to add on, I was just going to add quickly, is that also once you kind of mapped out, it will also help you with idea creation as well, because you can also see where you might have things that are missing. You might be too focused on making the pitch and not enough on the top of the funnel, where it's like you're even introducing the problem before. So this can also help you with ideas about like how, what, I offer
Yeah,
this, oh, I'm obviously missing some stuff here in the middle. Okay, I need to like add content. So it also helps you with video creation ideas, not just where to
that's right.
distribute them as well. So it
That's
can
right.
help you fill in
That's
gaps.
right. And when you're working with a videographer, that kind of information is exactly what you need to let them know about. And again, we'll probably dive a little deeper into that when we talk to Nathaniel.
Yeah.
So, where does your video live? What should you do with it? Well, rule number one: everything lives on your website. That's always the rule. So, what is important, or how do you get it on your website? Well, you're going to want to host it elsewhere. You're not going to want to actually upload that gigantic file to your website. You're going to want to host it on YouTube, Vimeo, any sort of place where you can host and embed get an embed code so you can put it on your website. That's the way to go. So that's number one. So we've now introduced that you need it on a video hosting platform. Um, and then when it's on your website, you're going to want to have enough information on there for Google to figure out what your video is about. So if it's going to be on a main page or on a blog post, it could be either, depending on what kind of video you've got. You're going to want to create some text to go with it. I don't recommend transcripts. I see a lot of people using transcripts, but I get annoyed when I read a transcript and then realize that it's the exact same as what I watched in the video. What I like to put in the blog post or on the page is supplementary information and perhaps a summary of what the essentials are from that video, or an expansion of what the essentials are on that video, depending on how long the video is. So text on your web page, that'll help Google find you and index that page, therefore index that video. Super important. And then when you're looking at, okay, so we've also got it hosted on YouTube or Vimeo, you're also going to want to make sure that it's optimized on that particular platform. And there are quite a few ways to do that, things that you need to take care of. And for the most part, YouTube does walk you through that when you upload your video. It'll prompt you to create a title. It'll prompt you to add a description. It'll prompt you to add tags, all of that sort of stuff, and cards to feed new videos back to the people at the end. So these are all, and this, you can see how complex it becomes because you can move people through a funnel on YouTube. You can move people through a funnel on your website. So both of those things need to be addressed. And there are lots of articles out there on how to optimize for YouTube. Some people say put hashtags in your title. Some people say put a lot of text with keywords in the description. I like to make sure that you're feeding people back to your website at every option. So if you have provided way more content for that video on your website, then definitely send them back for there and let them know as in the call to action for the full blog post, or for the supplemental material, or for the downloadable checklist, or for whatever it is that you're doing on that web page. You're going to want to provide a link in that description to go there. We don't necessarily, I mean, it's better, it might not be necessary for sales to get people back to your website if you have a good funnel on your YouTube channel, but you want to put all of the effort in supporting your organic SEO for your website always. That's what in my mind, all marketing should be doing.
Yeah.
That and getting leads, just those two things.
Yeah. I know that like YouTube will not necessarily penalize, but they won't emphasize as much your videos that do have ones that go to landing pages, because they obviously want to keep you on the platform as much as possible. So
Yeah.
it's one to, you might need to strike a balance of it. But like you said, if you have a full funnel and they've watched, an hour of content, I think that I'm trying to remember this, but it was like 1 hour of content with one video that would go off to a different to like a landing page where they sign up to something, and
All right.
YouTube doesn't. Yeah, there's like a weird metric that some people have found, but obviously it's like they're just guessing and trying to
Yeah.
figure out from reading the entrails of like doing their own YouTube stuff. No one, there's
Yeah.
no one that said like distinctly like, oh, do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely one where you can have it, but be careful if you're always trying to do the hard pitch like every video of like you should go and like get my checklist. Like I know
Yeah.
that YouTube's a little cagey about that.
I think Google also doesn't particularly like it when you shove telephone numbers everywhere. This is what I've also heard. So they
I believe it.
prefer that you, yeah, they prefer that you go and add your phone number um, on your business profile and take calls that way, rather than constantly adding the phone number everywhere. And it actually makes more sense too if you consider that most of your, or at least half of your um, traffic is coming from mobile. It's not that easy um, to get a phone number and make that call. I don't know if you've ever done that, but you look
Hmm.
on YouTube description that you have to open up the description, you have to find that telephone number, and then you have to memorize it, and then you have to go over to your phone app. I don't have a very good memory, so this always becomes a big issue. So wherever you can put a click in telephone number, it's just much better for people to be able to use. Um, but that's not really about video optimizing. That's something else. So you've got it on YouTube. You've got it on your website. You might have some kind of little funnel going on your YouTube. You'll definitely have a good funnel going on your webpage, hopefully.
Yeah.
So then, what else do you do with it? And I just need a second.
Well, the other one that I wanted to address before that kind of came up when we were talking about this was like long form versus short form content as
Oh
well,
yeah, yeah,
because there's a
yeah,
big the big debate is that like
yeah,
pretty much every platform has some like 60-second to 90-second
yeah,
portrait shot video mode that's going on. And I know specifically with YouTube that apparently if you make a clip of your longer video and you make that as a short, that
mm-hmm.
will help you promote if they watch the whole one, that then YouTube will
Great,
then
yes.
promote your video to organically. So I know that that's
Ah,
like one option. So
yeah, yeah,
I was just
yeah.
wondering about that as well.
Yeah, so that is that. Those are some really good strategies, and yeah, we've played around with that a little bit too. It works the same for Facebook also, and well, actually, we use Facebook in a couple of different ways. It's not my favorite way, but yeah. So the short form on so that's the other thing. Always try and get some shorter clips for um, your shorts, your reels, and such, and the YouTube from the same video. Usually, videographers will add that in a package. Don't try and say, oh, we don't need that. Please give me a quote without that. Just take it. You're going to find that you're going to need it. You might not need clips put together. Right now, I'm working with Nathaniel, and I'm just getting him to supply me with a bunch of little clips so that I can create my own reels. And that
Hmm.
can also work. You can so that you can utilize the trending templates. That's a
Yeah.
nice way of getting a really good hit. So I noticed that when you use trending templates on Instagram and TikTok, you definitely get way more views than if you're just making your own template or your own little video or whatever it is that you're doing, and choosing your own music. So you might think that Taylor Swift is not part of your brand, but she might be part of your target market's lifestyle, and that's something to consider when you're putting up your reels. I found it that this recent one, that test that I did for this episode, was remarkable. It was almost double. So that's a pretty good
Hmm.
kick in the organic algorithm. If you have no money, this is a trick to use. I mean, if you have no ad spend budget, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, so you want to get the clips, and you'll probably do something quite different with the clips. And on YouTube, the one thing that you want to always remember is that YouTube is actually the second largest. Last I checked, hopefully that stat is still correct. The second largest search engine online compared to Google, and it's also owned by Google. So while you may think that if your short clips get picked up better by YouTube, that doesn't mean you should abandon long videos at all, because um, Google tends to prefer um, long form long form content when it's indexing pages, when it's indexing videos. So
Yeah.
so you still want to maintain that longer ones, and especially if you got those. You know, they've got that nice feature now where you're adding chapters to all of your
Yeah.
videos or segments or whatever. So it makes it really user friendly to put up long format content. In the olden days, it was a pain in the butt. You got like a 10-minute video and you had to watch that stupid whole thing. And then you'd start, you know, doing your dishes or whatever else you need, you have. And then you would miss that brief moment of the big piece of information that you were looking for. And then you'd have to run and rewind it. Anyways, not so good for the user experience. The chapters have really made a big difference.
Yeah.
Oh, and then and then the rest of the platform. So you want to think about what is good on the rest of the platform. So most platforms don't really want you leaving the page. So as Phelan had mentioned, you don't want all of your videos to point back to web pages, because YouTube wants to keep you on YouTube, and Facebook wants to keep you on Facebook, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what's good for the platform in equal measures as to what's good for your organic SEO. That's how I like to think about it. So on Facebook, I prefer to put the long form video on Facebook because I know I get way more reach on that particular organic piece. If you're doing ad spend, you don't have to pay that much attention to whether it's the long version or the short version, because you're paying to get past that algorithm. But what I like to do, if I'm going to put the whole thing on, I'm not going to say go to the blog so that you can watch the whole thing all over again. I'm going to do go to the blog so that you can download our easy checklist that goes with this
Yeah.
video, or some other extra piece of added value content that is going to be on your website to entice the person to get off your website. So that's a nice little thing. And then generally I put the link in the status. Now, there's some controversy out there at the moment as to whether it's better or in the comment. Um, um, I've always put it in the status because I feel it gets lost in the comments. I checked in just the other day with Mari Smith, who I think gets a lot of really great intel from Facebook, and she
Yeah.
says don't put it in the comment. And somebody else, I forgot who it was, said put it in the comment. So the best thing to do is to just test it, check and
Yeah. Yeah.
see what is working best for you. So if you get a lot of engagement, you might find that your comments do get lost. But if you're not getting that much engagement, maybe everybody who's watching the video is actually clicking that link, and only your Google Analytics will tell you so,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. I mean, it's one, like you said, that you got to test it to really know 100% like which way it, you know, and the algorithms they're so weird, and like no matter what anyone says, like every person's going to have like their own unique version of how it interacts with them. Like some people, like you said, get a lot of comments, so you'll need to play with how you're going to have that one. Apparently one that's really good for doing landing page views is TikTok. I know a couple of affiliate
Yeah,
marketers
really.
on their platform that use it, and they just have like affiliate links that they put in, and like they'll promote like a SaaS product, and then it's got an affiliate link, and it
Right.
goes to the page, and they fill it out, and so apparently that's been effective, which is kind of weird. It's not what I was expecting, but I think for TikTok specifically, it's because they have so
Yeah.
much in the e-commerce, right? Because it like
Yes.
the
And I
it's
think, but if you think about it, it makes sense because that platform is intended for influencers, and influencers make their money by selling other people's products. So that
yeah.
makes absolutely total sense. And I'm surprised that Instagram isn't quite that great for that because they want to be TikTok
Yeah.
in a lot of
Well,
ways.
yeah, and I think that's just a kind of a result of like a hangover of how Facebook and Meta in general kind of responds to like user engagement, that it's like we need more and more, rather than like thinking about it in terms of like, hey, can we like tilt the algorithm so it would favor some of the people who use the platform, like mega users of the platform, that we want to promote what they're doing, and so they're going to be more enticed. And so it's kind of like it's one where I think it's just a holdover of a different time,
Hey,
and they're
total yes, and a different ideas because the thing that about TikTok is that you might leave the link to buy the thing, but generally people are so addicted to TikTok, like it's so engaging and so interesting that they jump right back in. It's not
yeah
like they lose the viewership. They don't need to have people scrolling for 5 hours in one session because they will scroll for 5 hours throughout the day. So
yeah
I don't know. I think they've really hit the nail on that better than Instagram, for example.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think well, and I think it's also the that e-commerce was built in pretty highly to the Chinese version of it, so it's different. Like their user metrics are just sort of different for how they look at it and how
Yeah.
they did the
Yeah.
web design for that part. So I know that
For sure.
that's probably going to influence how they view these things as well.
For sure. Absolutely. Okay, so we've discussed the platforms to a little bit of a degree. And again, check for checklists that are already on the web that show you how to optimize all of your video for those particular platforms. There are a lot of things that you can add to Facebook, including thumbnails and alt text and tags and things like that. Make sure you're filling everything in. If you're
Yeah.
using a scheduler, sometimes I go in after the fact. I will use the schedule and then I'll run in and start adjusting things on the and in the edit mode.
Yeah.
Same with LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a lot of stuff that you can add in. It's super interesting because I don't know the stats specifically for visually impaired, but I do know that there's about 20% of the population uses accessibility technology in some way. So that's a fairly large portion of your demographic. I feel that shouldn't be left out necessarily.
Yeah.
You know, we might want to keep that. And then the last, or not last part, but one of the next things that we don't want to miss is the email newsletter. So anything that goes out to social media should really live on your newsletter, on your website, and everything that lives on your website should be distributed to your current client and lead list through your newsletter. It's super important, and you can do in a lot of platforms you can do what's it called, variable content. What's it called? There's actually a
Dynamic
word for
content.
it. Dynamic, thank you. You can do dynamic content, so you can put something in there that's different for your leads compared to your current clients if you want to do that. But you should have something. You should always have your all of your stuff going out to your email list for sure, especially your videos. Now, how I like to do the videos in this case is not to add the video straight to MailChimp or anything like that. I like to, in that case, put a little um, you know, clip of it, and when they hit play, it goes to the website, and that's really what I prefer to do because I want to get those website views. And
Yeah.
just for anyone's interest, if you're worried about not getting all of the YouTube views by sending people to your website, when you embed a video anywhere, it counts, and someone watches it from anywhere when
Hmm.
it's embedded, not linked, it counts as a YouTube view. Oh, and the links just go back to YouTube anyways. I just never use links, or rarely do I use links to YouTube. So it
Yeah.
does
That makes
count as your
sense.
YouTube views. Yeah. And so you don't have to worry about that. And I do like to send people again to the blog post to watch the full video and get all the extra juicy, downloadable, value added stuff that you're using to supplement those videos.
Yeah, that makes
Now,
sense as well, to kind of reuse the email marketing, and yeah, just to have it, and especially if you're having parts that are tailored to like going back to where we started with it, to specific people in the funnel, that if you know that they're
yeah,
at like your leads are at like the top of the funnel, then you can definitely hit them with the right target, with the right message at the right time, kind of thing, where you know that they're
right.
new, like, hey, I know you're new to learning about this issue. Here's a video kind of explaining
Yeah,
why this will really help you. And then that compared to people that are near the bottom and they already know, they're just like trying to figure out if you're the right one to work with.
yeah,
Like that's something you can hit those messages at those times with people, and so making that
yeah.
content for them at that time.
That's right. So, video is actually still ranking number one in terms of organic algorithm on all platforms. So, it's something that is a really big thing right now, and and probably will remain a big thing for a long time, I imagine. So, it's
Yeah.
something, if you haven't already started um, organizing yourself for video, then now is the time to start thinking about it. So we're going to meet next month with Nathaniel Roy, a professional videographer, where we can talk to him about how he approaches. And I think we're going to add another session. You can tell me in the comments below if you think this is a good idea, on how to DIY your videos to get the best production value on your mobile phones. I can definitely do that with you.
Yeah, yeah. That one might be interesting as well because I know that like a lot of people get intimidated when they're looking at video setups and like
Yeah.
obviously it's one that it's a lot of gearheads out there that can go through like all the different lighting, all the different gear. When reality, like most
Yeah.
people like it to be a little more off
We're
the
going to,
cuff and a little more
yeah.
real.
We're going to focus on using natural lighting and moving to find the natural lighting. So not using a desktop
Yeah,
and finding the light. I love my I did a little TikTok on that. Let's just now you can see
yeah, yeah,
how much older I am compared to how great I look, right?
yeah. Well, and
Right,
you
Phelan?
definitely there's lots of parts because I know that it's a bit intimidating for a lot of people that are looking at how
Yeah.
to get started and where to get
Yeah.
started in that journey.
Yeah.
And I think that pairing it with simple strategies for how to get started with your videos. Most people like I think still every time I've done any sort of like YouTube ad tutorial, like most of the people say that like simple like head to camera talking about the issue and the solution is still the number
Mm-hmm.
one way that people get that done. And so it's
Yeah.
definitely it's still going to be a little bit more of the just simple and you don't have to overcomplicate things because I think that that's one thing that
No.
people kind of get in their own way about like
Yeah, you don't
overthinking
need a
what the
ring
video.
light. You don't. Yeah, you don't need a go. You don't need what is those things called? The ones that stabilize them. You don't
Oh,
really need a
GoPro.
stabilizer unless you're actually want to do all those walking ones, which can be kind of fun if you're organizing a little series of. I knew there's a videographer in Vancouver who used to go out in the woods and give little
Hmm.
video talks. He would do just film himself, and
Yeah.
those always look good because he did have one of those stabilizers. So it's but you don't have to have a whole lot of equipment. So and I think I actually already have the equipment that you need to get yourself started, which is super simple. I've got a blog post, so I'll pop those that in the comments below too for everyone.
Yeah,
And
that
I'm going to
makes
write that
sense.
down.
And
So
so, yeah, and yeah, I think that also that paired with how we talked about the funnel at the start of this video about like knowing what content to write and what content to, and it doesn't have to be super long either. Like you can stick with the YouTube shorts for now and then build out fuller, longer videos as you sort of get your feet. And so, quick little fast content and then just try that, get your feet wet, and then experiment with that, and then as you build longer content out and want to make something more detailed, you can.
yeah, exactly. All right. So if you have any questions, pop them in the comments below. We'll be back next week with the what's happening in this month in marketing with all four of us. And yeah, if you have a topic that you'd like to hear more about or a challenge that you've been facing recently in your marketing, pop that in the questions below. We'll do our best to answer it, and we might even turn it into a podcast for you if it's a we're looking for
Yeah, if
ideas, so
if it's
come
something
over.
that's not just quick but requires a bit more expansion, we're
Yeah.
definitely open to what people are struggling with or things that they'd like a deeper dive on. Then we're totally
Yeah.
open to hearing from what you guys want as well. So yeah, that's definitely an option.
Yeah. So if you're watching us anywhere else on the web, we stream in a number of places. You can find us directly in the Cyberpunk Marketing Mixer Facebook group. Otherwise, you can come back wherever you are now to watch us next week. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks. Bye for now.